The fall crisp air, fresh brewed coffee, a spray tan, guilty by Gucci, and sex. These are a few of the favorite smells of my next fabulous creature, MJaie.
Get ready for the real estate show that takes you across the barriers and into the danger zone. That Bitchin' Real Estate Podcast with your host, Tenacious T.
MJaie. Oh, I'm so happy you're here.
I was like, I need to lower my energy a little bit because you were all sexy, but then you threw in that, and I was like, okay, we're talking about.
Yeah. Please
Some of my favorite things.
introduce yourself.
I am MJaie MANGUS, expressionist, artist, a podcast personality, entrepreneur.
Yes. And in my
power coach.
In my opinion, the ultimate divine feminine.
Thank you.
Ultimate divine feminine. There is something so uniquely refreshing about you. Even when I first saw you years ago. Gosh, how long has it been? Like 6?
It's been a while. I remembered the other day. I was like, when did we first meet?
Yeah. I was stalking her a little bit on Facebook. The presence
Thanks
that
for
you
being
have.
honest about that.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
I stalk her. Who doesn't these days? There was an essence about you I immediately picked up on, and an essence that I myself had forgotten. And it was being able to exude all of your passions that lie within in your exterior. And over the years, I've seen it evolve. I've seen it grow. And it's infectious. There's a freedom about you. And I want to know where it comes from.
It really comes from being bold enough to step into your power, being who you authentically, truly are.
Yeah. And you didn't have an easy life. You haven't had an easy life.
Mm-hmm. People think that I have, but I have not.
Yeah, no, you haven't. I think you've probably experienced everything in the spectrum of abuse, neglect, the whole gambit. Can you take us back to a place where you decided that you were no longer going to put up with the abuses of the outside world and allow yourself to be who you are?
You know, I've always felt different. Mm-hmm. I've always felt different. And I kind of also felt invisible. Mm-hmm. And when you feel invisible, something about that made me feel invincible. And if nobody's really watching, it's kind of like being home naked in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And from an early age, I had to pull from within.
Yes.
I knew that there was a light. I knew that there was something inside of me that I was tapping into that felt the safest.
Yes.
It didn't feel safe to me to reach out for other things. Although I have to try and, we all go through things and experience stuff, but none of that stuff really was for me. But coming back to me each time, it was always this pulling from a power or source or energy from inside of me that I connected with.
Yes. You are an extremely gifted human being in both, the real world, what we like to call reality, and you have an innate knowledge and understanding that I myself, as a metaphysical student, know is from past lives. It is something that carries in your DNA and helps shape who you are, because I truly believe we're all here for a purpose.
Absolutely.
And those of us who did feel alone when we were younger, those of us who felt something pounding within, I believe it is those lessons of the past life coming up to tell us our purpose. For me, watching you gave me the strength to say it's okay. Like, I want to get a little teary-eyed. It's okay to be a sensual, graceful, mysterious woman who loves looking at her image.
Jennifer Aniston once said that she always felt like she was the second most attractive woman in the room. And I thought, man, she's just really... But there was something about that. And I think that I try and separate myself from my ego.
Yes.
This is who I am. When I am me, this is me stepping into me. It's not me being something that I am not.
Right. And I'm not saying
Right.
that, I like looking at myself because I like looking. I like looking at myself.
Yes.
That thing that comes from within, that beautiful, beautiful being.
To love yourself. It's self-love.
Yes.
So I wanted to make sure that anybody listening understood that, because people that I've always had this thing where people judge me. I'm the first person that everybody judges, and they think that I'm fake. They think that come from money, that everything's been handed to me, that superficial, whatever. And I'm not. I am not
for everything you have.
I work for everything, and I am very authentic and genuine. And so when we talk about looking at ourselves, I want to make sure that people know that there's a difference. And I am huge on self-love. As a power coach, when I am with my clients, it's really all about self-love.
Yes.
And when you can love yourself, that is where true, authentic power comes from. We get away from that. We're so comfortable with loving or having the false sense of security of relationships and things around us that make us feel good.
Yes.
That absolutely starve ourselves from ourselves.
And I think that's what I recognized in you those many years ago.
Absolutely.
I was still struggling with the loss of my son.
Yes.
And there was something, you're approachable to me. Not only approachable, but you're warm. And I myself have been coached by you. I've gone through some things in my relationship and in my personal life. I really could not have gotten through some moments if it wasn't for you. So speaking of the power coach, that is the magic I'm talking about. Not only have you had to learn self-love on your own, but you've been able to envelop others with that. And it just, there's something, it's channeling. I'm going to call it channeling. When you connect to that person, you receive the messages that they need to hear. And you probably don't even remember, maybe even after when you're really deep in it, but it's so valuable.
Right. When I'm with somebody, I lose all sense of time, date, everything.
Yeah.
So when I'm with you, we're in another place. And I pull my power from my artwork. I went through about 1.5 years of therapy for myself after my mother died. I got to a point where I was hurting.
Yes.
And our relationship wasn't so close that I was like, my mother. But it was, wow. There was
still
something
your
about
mother.
it. Yeah. But there was something about it. And when I went into therapy, it was really facing myself and my ego, my entire life. So we went from when I was a child, my earliest memory, to date. And as soon as I started therapy, like, let's just talk about the real shit.
Yes.
Let's talk about the real me. Let's talk about what I knew and what I didn't know, and where I was at. And as soon as I started doing that, I'd always been an artist, but my entire life was preparing me for that moment when I started facing myself, from noticing that and accepting that I was an artist, I was different, pursuing my acting career, to just things being around the camera. I didn't know ever since I was in 6th grade that I was being prepared for this moment when I faced myself.
Yes.
And when I faced myself, all of this art, the only thing that I could do was just get it out of me. And all of this stuff, green shots started coming to me. And it was like, they were different from any other creative visions that I've ever had. It was different. It was connected. And all I knew was to produce and to create this art. So that is where I feel the closest to God. That was where I was most authentic, is the art. And this is where I pull my energy from. And from that, it goes out to the power coaching and to the podcast and the things it is that I do.
Exactly.
But I harness that, but it comes from absolutely being your true authentic self.
And what a lot of people don't realize is imagination, creativity is your God spark.
Absolutely.
It is your God spark. There is a reason why epic movies are epic and works of art and the things that move you, books, stories, pictures, it's because it's from God spark and it ignites it in other people. And when you use your voice and you're in that, again, I'm going to use my own experience, when you're in that channel with your client, it is a God spark. You're removing blocks that the other person, the crust of the other person, and releasing the truth that needs to come out.
I'm releasing their truth.
Yes, their
I'm
truth.
reflecting their truth. I think it's that you trust me.
Mm-hmm.
You feel and know that you're in a sacred place, that
Yes.
everything is confidential, and we're connected, and you're safe.
Yes.
We are not. We don't feel safe anymore. We can't even go to our. We fear judgment.
Yep.
And when you know that you're in an absolute place of connection, and God, when was the last time you felt safe?
Yeah.
Even when we're about doing everything we love, it's like deep down, it's like, when do we feel safe, especially in this fucked up world right now? You mentioned the movie.
Yeah.
I've got to say, my favorite part, and I always say this, is when they get up in the middle of the movie and they're like, they're not gonna fucking take it anymore. They fight. They pull for. It's that music.
Yes.
It's that moment. It's very subtle. Any big action. It's a still moment that the camera is right on their face, and something shifts in their mind. And if they're a good enough actor, you can feel what they're thinking.
Yes.
And the music helps too, yes. But that's where you know that
Yep.
that they hit their moment, that they're going to get up. They're
It
going to go
ignites
after
you.
Exactly. So it doesn't really matter what the end of the movie is going to be.
Yeah.
We're there for that
Oh,
moment.
yeah.
And that moment, I think we all love it, but we've got to acknowledge it. It's not the end. Everybody's always focused on the end goal, and they don't understand that.
I heard a phrase recently is, we all like to manifest. We all want to picture where we're going to be in 5 years, and we're supposed to visualize it. But there is something a little twisted about that, because if you're picturing exactly where you're going to be in 5 years, you're not allowing the flow to put you where you're supposed to be in 5 years.
It's not a straight line.
No.
It's not A to B.
No.
It's like,
Yes.
Yes. It's a roller coaster ride.
Yes.
And
sometimes you give up,
and
that's what you're here for.
right, because we've got to understand that our desire, whatever our deepest desire is, we've got to pay attention to what it is that we're fearing or wanting, loving, feeling, what our deepest desire is, because that's manifesting. No matter how much we can sit there and try and meditate and focus on something, if our deepest is a fear, that's what's manifesting. If we switch it and go, what is, or check ourselves, check in with ourselves. I love to check in with myself.
Yeah.
If it's what our deepest desire is, that's what's going to manifest.
Yeah.
And you can't give up on that.
No, you can't.
You have got to understand that it's almost like a guided missile. Things are going to happen, but we can still tweak and even fine tune where it is that we want to land. We just have to be very conscious of what's going on around us, because the universe is always working in our favor.
Yes.
It's all, I mean,
yes. Thank you.
But it matters what you believe. Some people don't believe in the universe.
True.
When I do coaching, I've got to ask, what do you believe in? Some people don't even believe in God. So I have got to coach them from their trust, you know, like if they're like, I don't believe it. So you can't say that the universe is.
Right.
So I believe for my life that the universe is always, and it's always going to be my message.
Has your highest and greatest good. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Jesus is one of your guides. Jesus is also one of mine.
Jesus freak.
Jesus is the light, the Christ light. He has the staff of light. I don't even want to say sword. He is a gentle soul who mastered exactly what you're talking about, who's able to sit for 40 days and 40 nights and work through everything. When you can sit in a quiet room, like I did before you got here, and nothing's going through your mind, that's because you've reached a place of calm. And that is, again, your specialty. When I asked you about your favorite animal, mythical or otherwise, you do your Chihuahua, of course, is the real life one. You said magic carpet. Oh, perfect for you.
It's not an animal, but
it's perfect for you because the animal, or in this case, a live object that you choose, is also how you see yourself. And you are a magic carpet. You take people on a journey, on a ride, so that they can find their own end goal. Tell me the story of the magic carpet.
I mean, that's interesting. I do feel like my life is a magic carpet ride, and I do want people, when they are near me, or they're watching me, that they feel like they're on a quick little magic carpet ride. I think the defining moment for me when I experienced this was, I haven't really told too many people about this story, but I was about 15. I was getting, a little out of control.
Yeah.
I only wanted my father's love. And I left my mother and was living with my father, and got out of control, like I said. And I was going to the Kiss concert, and he said to me, "I'm going to take you shopping." And I was like,
Yeah.
Daddy is showing up. Like, Daddy, because he just kept on pushing. He didn't know what to do with the 14, 15-year-old
Sure.
girl. I didn't live with him.
I
my
don't think
entire
anyone
life.
really knows what to do with a 14 or 15-year-old
Oh my God.
girl or boy.
So true. But he didn't, I just popped up in his world,
Yeah.
So I just wanted, I was 15 and I wanted to crawl on his lap. And because I had wanted his love since I was a little girl, and I never got it. And so when he said he was going to take me shopping, I was like, this is it. He hears me, and he sees me, and this is going to be awesome. And we get in the car and we're driving through the city, and then we're driving out of the city, and I'm like, the mall's that way.
Yeah. Where are we going? Daddy.
And then we started hitting a country road, and I still remember he had an El Camino, and I still remember, the shots or whatever, and the bounce. And he pulled over on the side of the road. We're in the middle of nowhere. And he says, "Get out." And I'm like, "What?" I think he's joking. He's like, "Get out." I'm like, I'm trying, I have like this nervous laughter, like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Are you joking? And he reaches over and he pulls open the door, and he pushes the door open, and he says, "Get out." And he starts pushing me out the door, and I'm like, what is happening right now? And
You have no idea where you are.
I don't know where I'm at. I know.
Is it dark?
This is in, Toledo, Ohio. And no, but it was getting dark. It was probably like 3 or 4 in the evening. And I get out of the car, and I look in, and I'm like, waiting for him to crack a smile, and he does it, and he drives off.
MJaie MANGUS, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, but don't worry, she'll be back in part 2. MJaie and the famous questions.
In the right place to move, in the right place for you. Always stay up all night, watch the neon light. Touch your one's